New church that aims to help people struggling with addiction is open. TV 20's Misty Webb tells us what the co-pastors say their mission is.
After 4 years of planning and working together as a community, the Compassion United Methodist Church has held its grand opening with food trucks, bounce houses, face painting, horseback riding, and guest speakers. The Druid Hills United Methodist Church closed several years ago. The co-pastors say they felt this was their time to open up their church and begin their mission.
When we saw that this property was available and that the last church had left, we did not want to see it sit empty for very long, and we knew that there was a need here in this community.
Ocala natives Michael and Jill Beck returned to co-pastor in 2020 with St. Mark's Church, where they would meet all throughout Ocala.
We saw a real need in the community, not just for another church, where people come to worship, but a place that would integrate recovery.
Michael wanted to serve a broader community after going through certain addictions himself.
I come from a journey of recovery myself, so I'm 16 years of recovery from alcohol and drugs.
After having the opportunity to branch out, they took over an old church that will be a home to holistic recovery program for women.
We'll help them get driver's license, jobs, resume preparation, those kind of things. So it'll be a holistic recovery program and a church all happening right here at this location.
The opening block party had many activities and guest speakers, including Ocala's mayor, who shared his struggle with addiction. Michael and Jill say they look forward to being a step closer to many people's recovery. In Ocala, Misty Webb, TV 20.